Patnaik of Columbia University. You must read the article, how they did it beautifully, how the research paper, how they did it beautifully. And then they created a global supply chain to connect producers to consumers through shipping, through pipelines, retail, wholesale, financial services, and everything. And they control the world. 15 years ago, the digital revolution took off with the rise of the internet. The internet is a platform where out of 8 billion people on the planet, 5.5 billion people interact. And you can interact synchronously and asynchronously with each other, do business, get entertainment, get knowledge, education, financial services, almost everything. And that is creating new business models. And the global supply chain to physically reach consumers is gone to the back end. So anybody going on to the internet can do business with anybody else. And that innovation is what is changing the world. And we've seen the change happen. And the next 10 years is going to be the time when the change is going to accelerate. And in this digital revolution, there are three great global powers: the United States, China, and India. And in the free world, United States and India are joined at the hips. Enormous amount of activity happening. So in Bangalore, we are closer to San Francisco than to Delhi. We go to Delhi, they speak an alien language and alien culture of politics and all that. And JNU is there, sadly. But that is the change that is happening. And to explain the change, we got three wonderful people. Rajesh Sehgal will speak on learning from global startup ecosystem. Suresh Jayaraju, investor incentive and policies. Gunjan Bharadwaj, IDA to scalable methodologies. Leaders of the digital revolution, leaders of digital India who are changing the face of India as entrepreneurs. Then I will talk about the fintech revolution. Thank you. I invite Sri Rajesh Sehgal to now go and speak for 10 minutes on global startup ecosystem. Rajesh, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think my role here is to take up the next 10 minutes and share with you what's happening in the Indian startup ecosystem, but also in the context of globally. Sri Mohandas Pai ji just mentioned about how Britain came and changed, the face of wealth in not only India, but many other countries. Let me start from there, sharing with you what we learned as kids in school is the Britain used to call us Indians a nation of shopkeepers. I think they didn't realize that we are not shopkeepers, we are entrepreneurs, right? And today, where we stand as a country, I'm very proud to say that entrepreneurship in India is alive and kicking and really just about coming into its own, fueled by so many factors that are in play today, right from, the small fledgling IT industry in the 70s and 80s. Mr. Pai was one of the architects of that revolution, and we've seen how that has really showed up what India is all about. Let me go to the slides now and talk about where we are in terms of global scenario. I started investing personally as an angel investor in 2007, much before startups were a thing to invest in or an asset class even. And right from then, I can share with you. I've heard this statistic that I have it on the slide, that India is among the third largest or the fourth largest startup ecosystem in the world. My role here, what I'm trying to do is balance. I'm not just here to give you a rosy picture of what's happening on the ground, but to also share some realities. Since then till date, we still remain the third largest ecosystem in the world. So in terms of numbers, it'll appear that we are very static. But if you look one layer beneath, if you focus more on the quality of the startup ecosystem today, I must say that we've come a long, long, long way. Some of the numbers that you can see here in terms of number of unicorns or amount invested in the ecosystem or number of accelerators, incubators. I think when you put things in context, you will realize that Indian economy, if you look at the GDP size, we are 1/7 or 1/8 of the US, right? But when you look at the tech ecosystem, there is a long, long, long way to go. It's not just about the nominal GDP level numbers that we have to fuss about. I think it's more about actual true innovation that we have to see on the ground. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are at a cusp where the new technologies that we are seeing all around us, words that we hear, even if you're not part of, the technology ecosystem, words like artificial intelligence, machine learning, GPT, all of us are familiar with that. I think some of these technologies are really leveling the playing field. I was talking to this researcher from Adobe, and he works in the US and UK, and he was in India last week, just as a recon trip, just to figure out what's happening on the ground, and he was very surprised. He was very surprised that we don't have as much happening in the AI landscape in India as he had anticipated. I'm sure he will have a very different thing to say the next year when he visits, because there is indeed a lot of green shoots that I can see in terms of Indians working on newer technologies and building far larger businesses. I think it's got a lot to do with culture. So when you look at, and I think, we had speakers here since morning. I've been listening to Ashish ji and everybody else, and we all mentioned about when you talk about Bharat, I think a lot can be attributed to our history, our ancestry, and ancestral values, and therefore culture. If we compare US startup ecosystems culture, or what's happening in China or what's happening in other places, and you compare that to Bharat, there are some commonalities, but I think there are some very fundamental differences. I think the one thing that we can't take away from our ecosystem here is the way we function as a society, the way we are always keen to learn from everybody else. I mean, this conference for me has been, a testimony to that fact. Every conversation I've had, there's something that everybody's trying to learn, including me, by the way. Every conversation I've had, I'm trying to, get more. And I think that leads and that feeds itself into how we Indians and how we Bharatvasis are looking at entrepreneurship, at building institutions, building larger businesses. Uh, One thing that stands out, as you can see on the slide, it's about the young startups, uh, you know, sh- uh, believing that there is a significant potential to grow. Uh, some of the numbers that are out there in terms of, let's say, the best educational institutions in the country, the IITs and the IIMs. I mean, there was a time, when I graduated nearly 30 years back, 27, 28 years back, uh, there was nothing called entrepreneurship. Everybody wanted a job. Everybody wanted security. I think today the scene is so very different. Uh, Majority of the people there who are, and these we can say are the, some of the best minds in the country who got admissions after such a competitive entrance exam, etc. I think most of them have either want to become entrepreneurs upon graduation, or after a few years of experience in the corporate world, they want to start something of their own. And I think this is the culture that will make sure, in Modi ji's dream and all our dreams of being a 5 trillion economy very soon, and maybe more, far more than that. These are some numbers. I don't have to fuss about it. I think all of us know some of these numbers. As you can see on the right hand side, there's a chart which tells us that things were great 2 years back. We all were part of that, buoyancy, part of that bull market. Today, things are far more, getting into more rational phase. I wouldn't call it a winter as it's termed out there, but I think it's a natural cycle. It has to play out by itself. Excesses that were made in 2021 will have to get rectified. Being part of this ecosystem, I can share with you my personal experience that quite a lot of that correction is behind us. It's a cycle. It's no point in trying to figure out when is the bottom of the cycle. There were some participants in the morning who were asking questions to the first panel about, I want to raise funding, I'm not getting any funding, how do I get funding, etc., etc. So I think you have people here on the panel who can answer some of those questions. People like us are looking for good opportunities to deploy capital. So I must assure you that the funding ecosystem, especially for early stage companies, is alive and kicking, and we are all sitting on dry powder capital to deploy. I think the last few minutes of my time here, let me skip this one and go back to what is more relevant for participants here: funding options. If we have, if you're a new entrepreneur, if you're wanting to start something new and raise some capital, there are so many options available today. you do not have to really rely on your own pockets or friends and family. We mentioned some angel networks in the morning sessions. There are venture capitals of all shapes and sizes. So you have people like us at Equanimity. We make smaller investments. You have larger funds who are the next stage and the next stage and the next stage, right up to, like Ashish Chauhan mentioned in the morning, about listed companies. And he also shared some examples of companies going to the listed markets and raising, a few crores. That's the fuel that a startup ecosystem needs. That's the fuel that I think entrepreneurs need to really build sizable businesses. And I think we are getting there. As you can see, there are so many options of raising capital today. And I think what I foresee for the coming year, as I showed you in the earlier chart, that we are somewhere near the bottom of that cycle. I'm pretty positive that next year things are more likely to change than not. It does not mean that we will again see a huge bull market, in 24. I think it's going to take its own sweet time, a couple of years. But for anybody out there who's looking to raise capital, this year and the next are good years to really begin businesses. If we look at examples, again, global examples, the Britain or US and any of the developed markets in the world, you will see that most of the large conglomerates today, most of the large successful businesses today were formed in recession years, or years when funding was not very easily available, or years when customers were not queuing up to buy the products. So I think this is a great time to build businesses. It brings its own rationality when capital is scarce. And I think the biggest problem that Bharat and the Bharat ecosystem have always had is access to capital. But the flip side of that is, because of that scarcity of capital, we have learned how to build large global businesses in a very frugal manner. So I rest my case here. I'm available for Q&A after the panel and after the session as well. Thank you so much for a kind hearing.
Yeah, thank you, Rajesh. That's fantastic. Rajesh spoke to us about how the startup system is evolving, the challenges that you have, the prospects, etc. Now we have Suresh Jayaraju who will speak on investor incentives and policies. Suresh. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I wanted to quickly give a recap of what's happened in the tech ecosystem over the last 1 week. I don't know how many of you have been following through the tech ecosystem. There's been some very big developments happening in the Silicon Valley ecosystem, right? I'm sure most of you would have read about Sam Altman's firing, then him getting hired by Satya Nadella, then a renegotiation back with the board, and looks like he's going to be back in there, right? Very, very interesting development. Similar things we have seen back then with Steve Jobs, a couple of other founders, right? Founders who actually went, strived, put in almost decades of striving in terms of building products, getting fired, right? Why am I talking about this, and what's the relevance of something like this for policy in India? Um, we'll revisit this towards the end. I have some ideas which I wanted to propose here, especially from the context of what India has to offer to the rest of the world in terms of the next step of evolution in startup ecosystem. So we have come a long way. Rajesh had covered some of these numbers in terms of our growth of our startups. Um, some of these are very, very astounding numbers, but I'll call out three clear areas where we have seen significant shifts, especially over the last couple of years. Uh, One is the overall rise of women entrepreneurship. I think there's been a lot of talk earlier in the day, particularly from 2014 to 16 onwards. We've seen a doubling of the numbers from roughly around 7% to 15%. That's a very, very huge number. Um, Second area, which I would say is very, very important in this particular space, is the rise of the Indian technocrat NRI coming back to India and setting up offices here for growth, right? A whole lot of Indian technocrats, either based out of India or based out of international markets, went out there, got started with their own products and services with international MNCs, bought and back the learnings, and then this is one big, huge driving factor which led to the growth. Um, so these are general numbers. I don't need to read them out. Um, as you can see, the government of India obviously did some very good things. One is the entire Aadhaar ecosystem, and the India stack helped in terms of bridge the entire digital divide. But more than that, a whole lot of factors which I would call more as a butterfly fly effect happening across the globe contributed along with the government of India's policies. Uh, Definitely, the India demographics, young population, young urban demographics, coming and settling in cities and having smartphones helped here. Android and iOS ecosystem obviously helped in a very, very big way. If you look at the number of apps which were there in the smartphone ecosystem in 2011, it was less than a million. And as on date, we're talking about around 12.6 million. That's almost a 14x increase, right? Coupled with the increase in smartphone usage, etc. And of course, the cost per GB came down from almost like 236 rupees to 13.5 rupees. Probably this is the, as affordability case across the world, no other category has ever seen something like this over the last, 10 plus years. Despite the growth, we still see that we are lagging behind on a whole lot of factors, especially related to innovation. It's more, I would say, it's more to do with the the path to progress. Obviously has ups and downs, and we have been an economy which is largely been brought up out of famines, starvation, etc., etc. And we tend to be sort of more frugal in our approach, and I don't think we have gone in for big innovations. But some of these factors are very, very important in the longer term if we really need to progress and grow at a global stage. Um, I was asked to speak on taxation and regulatory compliance. I don't know how much I should really talk because I think I've spoken enough. Many people here. Sri Mohandas Pai has been resting this case with the government for a very, very long time. If you go back and talk about his, focus areas in terms of taxation and regulatory, I think he's done quite a bit, and so have leaders across the country. But essentially, I think the big problem is the tax department, income tax department, and startup department have two different goals altogether, right? Unless they really sit together and make these things work, it's just not going to happen. So we can all cry on what we really need, but ultimately it lies with the finance ministry. But I still rest my case with what really needs to be done here. Um, Going beyond the basics, I'm raising four very important questions, right? Very structural questions on the Indian startup ecosystem, which will have a long way to go. One is, why is it that only 1.34% of graduates choose entrepreneurships? Why can't India create products like Google, ChatGPT, etc.? And why do we not find foreign founders in the Indian ecosystem at all? I mean, I've visited multiple incubators and accelerators across India. Probably there's like one rare founder amongst 1 in 10,000. And finally, what is the end goal of all this startup ecosystem? Does India have something for the world to offer here? Let's see this. Why is it important to answer each of these questions? One is, we need the best of the minds in India to pursue entrepreneurship and not take up jobs at MNCs. Second is, without building world-class products, we cannot build world-class or world valuable companies like Google and Microsoft, etc. And if we are going to be a siloed ecosystem without diversity, we will never be able to catch up with the likes of Silicon Valley. Finally, is there anything which we can offer to the world beyond market cap and revenues? My answers lie in these four simple terms, A, B, C, D. Let's see what they are very quickly. Um, India is an emotional country. We need people to, follow aspirations based on mainstream emotions. People are emotional about Bollywood, about cricket, but how many people are really aspiring to get into startups at a very broad level, right? From tier 2, tier 3 countries. We need to really make this aspiration. A couple of ideas which I've penned down here are in terms of constituting some awards, making startups actually aspirational for mainstream youth, right? When they worship Virat Kohli, why can't they worship startup founders, right? That is really what these ideas are all about. Creating live mentorship program through celebrities, through technocrats. Some of these are very, very interesting ideas which the government should ideally pursue. Moving on to B, um, if we need to create products for best in the world uh, ecosystems, which can compete with the best in the world ecosystems, we need foreign founders to come in here. We need our founders to go to global markets. So some of the ideas which I penned down is, can we create startup embassies across Silicon Valley, London, a couple of other key geographies? I find it a struggle for Indian startup entrepreneurs to go there, establish base, set up connects and maintain networks. This is one very, very important area. Startup law, overall the judicial reforms itself are taking a whole lot of time. Can we create an independent startup law board which will handle Indian laws separately, as one of the other thoughts. A zero tax model for something like what we had as an original export-oriented unit a couple of decades back, which is focused on building world-class products based out of India, and probably a gift city equivalent across top cities in India with zero-rated tax model. And finally, how do we make our startups more collaborative? First is, can we create a equivalent of a CSR fund for startups? Maybe invest 1% of the profits in startups, which will work for both the parties, startups as well as corporates. Also, corporates can offer mentorship as well as give some percentage of the procurement as on a dedicated mandate for startups. This is one such initiative. Um, Second is Diaspora Connect. Can we engage the Indian diaspora to help Indian startups to create market access for them? And also create a long-term startup visa for foreign founders to come and set up base in India. Um, as you can see, there's an aspirational hierarchy in India, and right at the top is big tech. Startups can actually fit into any of these areas, but my thought here is that there is an open space right above, which goes beyond profits, goes beyond market cap. Let's see what it is. This is the idea of D slash dharmic startups, idea which has come of time. Think of creating a dharmic startup which stays above sustainability, which stays above ethics, and is based on dharmic principles set up by the government, funded for the longer term, probably for 10, 20 years kind of investment, where ethics and morality are not the only things to be followed, but can we do products without fine print? For employees, can we do things like uh, can we give them health instead of health insurance, right? Can we teach them things like coloring? Can we teach people yoga? Can we bring in all the big learnings from the traditional ecosystem to build a dharmic startup which can then sit right on top of the world, right? I wanted to just, end the note with this thought. The entire startup ecosystem is based on the Maslow's hierarchy, right? Where you start with your basic needs and go up ultimately towards more and more security, but there's no end to it. I rest my case with saying that, if we focus on inner development, based on these 5 sheets, the Annamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, all the way up to Anandamaya Kosha, where the focus of startups as well as corporates is in terms of internal building as well as overall life development, I think then we have something really big to offer to the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suresh. Now we have Gunjan Bharadwaj to talk to us on idea to scalable methodology.
Namaskar. Today I would talk about what we are doing and share 3 of our learnings, what has helped us in scaling the business from an idea. So basically we are looking at a very simple yet very big problem, and that's the inefficiency in drug discovery and development. Each year, big pharmas invest $250 billion in research and development. Last year, if you may guess, how many novel drugs were approved by the US FDA? 37. 90% failure rate. It's a sector with the least amount of penetration of deep tech. Even bigger than that, the way big pharmas are organized, or the big pharma business model is organized, when a big pharma decides to outlicense a drug, a phase 1 drug asset, when the decision is taken, it takes them 32 months, so 3 years almost, to execute that decision. Typically, for a phase 1 asset, you have 10 years of patent window left. So 1/3 of the value of that drug, which could be a life-saving drug for patients, it's just thrown out of the window because of how big pharmas are organized. And there we are leveraging big data and AI at scale. We crawl everything under the sun. We have molecular libraries. We leverage patient data. We train artificial intelligence and make predictions for the industry. We validate those predictions, as we had acquired a preclinical validation company last year in Germany. And with this, we do two things. For those drugs we believe should not be developed on the path they are in big pharmas, we buy those drugs, we in-license those drugs, and take them to the right development path. So we have 3 drug assets, and for those we do not take, we make recommendations to big pharmas and biotechs and partner with them in doing so. So very recently, a big pharma actually out-licensed an Alzheimer's drug successfully together with us. This drug would have never seen the light of the day if we wouldn't have partnered with them. That's how we work. In this space, we have the most formidable IP, and we have a team in Switzerland, Germany, and India. So we started with an idea some years back. What has got us where we are today? Just giving you one example of the idea that kind of culminated while we were doing all of this. So we started looking at publicly available data, crawling all of it, billions of URLs and so on. And someone said, well, what about real world data, patient data? Because that's key to train some of the AI models, specifically when you want to predict things on the clinical side. So we went to hospitals and said, we want your data. It was very difficult, very bureaucratic, even more bureaucratic than big pharmas themselves. And we also realized something astonishing, that patients, even though the entire industry is talking about bringing them at the center of the industry, patients have no say. So in the US, they give their data, the data is anonymized and is being sold or licensed out to big pharmas for billions of dollars, and patients don't get anything for that. There is a company, when they had data of around 10,000 patients, it was sold for $1.9 billion to a big pharma. Of course, the patients that actually owned that data technically didn't get anything. So we created a blockchain platform wherein a patient can upload his or her data and can get the lion's share of the value of that data. It started as an idea 18 months back. Now we have data of 2 million patients, 24 hospitals. World's largest private oncologist association is a partner. So what is it that you need to do for a crazy idea to become a scalable platform, a scalable business? I mean, you all know this, but very plainly put, success is 1% idea, 99% execution. There is a joke. I live in Germany. So many Germans quip, there is an American, a German, and an Indian, and a meteor is going to destroy the planet Earth, and you have to shoot a rocket. American is concerned about pressing the damn button. It's output orientation. German says, no, no, no. Pressing the button doesn't suffice. What is important is how you press the button, process orientation. And the Indian says, how you press the button or you press the button doesn't matter. What's most important is who presses the button. So it's all about people. And we hear, and many of you in the real world, in India, we hear a lot of gyan, but execution is missing at times. And you can introduce governance and processes, but it's also the conditioning of people. We need doers. We need also followers, and good followers make great leaders. And it's our goal, our objective as leaders to also motivate good followers. It's not about everyone shouldn't be a leader. First, they should be good followers. 3 learnings. First, you should be ready to adapt. And we all know this, and it's a very abstract thing. We started thinking we'll build a SaaS business. We started getting all the data. We went to big pharmas. They said, we have all this data. And we don't care if we have to pay 5 million instead of 2 million. That cost doesn't make a difference to us. We said, okay, data to insights. We started going with insights. And there, the share of value was more than if you just give aggregated data, but it was still minuscule. Because, of course, they would say, okay, we'll license this module that you have created for a couple of $1 million a year. But by the way, if we hit the jackpot, we might make a couple of billions with the biomarker that we may end up discovering. So we learned eventually that if you really want a fair share in this space, you have to work with drug assets. That's where the real business is. And hence we started in licensing drug assets and putting really the money where the mouth is. So we need focus, but for a period in time, one has to see what the product market fit is, what the proposition really is. And everyone, when we went to investors at that time, everyone wanted SaaS because SaaS had multiples. And if we would have built our business for the investors, we would never be here. We have great investors, by the way. But one needs to adapt over time. The second learning is it's all about people. I went to IIT, and engineers think everything is a math or an engineering problem. We learned it the hard way. And the biggest learning is the biggest task of founders and entrepreneurs is to build a great team and to empower them. Actually, Steve Jobs in one of his interviews said that was his biggest learning. And there are various tools to do that. We follow OKRs. It's very religious for us to have leadership team meetings in person every 15 days. Everyone comes there and we discuss everything under the sun in that leadership team meeting. Sounds very biblical, we can do a virtual call, Zoom call, this call, that call. It doesn't work. If you don't connect as a team and everyone feels they are a part of a decision, it won't work. And then last but not the least, it's the most important thing. Paisa koi bhi kama leta hai. Idea has to be anchored in a purpose. We started all of this because my first boss was diagnosed with cancer in 2010. And I learned no capital, no network, no hard work can solve one problem, and that problem is called hopelessness. When someone very near to you is diagnosed with cancer, we are sending spacecrafts to Mars. We have a Mars mission, etc. You don't know who the expert for a cancer type in your country is. You don't know what alternatives he may or she may have to survive. And that triggered a journey. And all of the team members that we have, we all connect because we believe we'll do everything to change the status quo of this industry. And if we are not successful, we'll die trying. Unless this purpose is there and is communicated, it's not anchored in the organization, it's very difficult to get everyone really behind your idea and to scale. Just to put it in words, in a poem that I recite often, for those of you who understand Hindi, it's about expressing the divine and connecting to the divine in others. मैं पक्ष हूं खड़ा समक्ष भावों का वंदन करता हूं अनंत ताप के अंतर मन से गदगद अभिवादन करता हूं जिह्वा से गरल किंचित अहो मैं शिव सा विस्मित कटु कहो उन वृक्षों सा वन में प्रबल भूसा जो सहती सब सबल देख रहे जो तुम प्रतिमा वो अभ्रंश की काया है मैं निराकार शिव हूं तांडव ओमकार की छाया है मैं एकलव्य मैं अर्जुन मैं ही अश्वत्थामा हूं मैं हूं सच्चित आनंद मैं ही मीरा राधा हूं सब गीत मेरे मेरा ही सुर मेरी ही सारी काया है मैं ही आदि मैं ही अनंत मुझसे ही सारी माया है मैं मानव बस रूप मेरा शिव हूं जीवन जीने आया हूं रोने पाने खोने सोने खिलखिल कर हंसने आया हूं मैं पक्ष हूं खड़ा समक्ष भावों का वंदन करता हूं अनंत आपके अंतर मन से गदगद अभिवादन.
Thank you, Gunjan. That's fantastic. I think we heard him well, and he's scaled up a business. Now, Mohan will speak on fintech revolution. Folks, this is about the Bharat fintech revolution. And pardon me if I slip into something called India once in a while. Now, this is India. I mean, Bharat. 1.4 billion people, 3.47 trillion GDP, 7.2% growth. PPP is 12.2 trillion, third largest in the world, 3.5 times nominal. All right? Per capita income is quite low. We're still a poor country, but doing well. We got a strong financial base, 5,000 listed companies, $3.89 trillion of market value in the markets. FDI, we get about $100 billion a year, and about 46 billion in mutual funds. That 46 lakh crores, and that is more than about $600 billion, and it's growing very fast. I'd like to focus on the future. We are a poor country. Despite operation, we've done very well. Banking, 122,000 branches, about 201 lakh crores of deposits. It's a large number, all right? And about 145 lakh crores of bank lending. The system is very large. We got Bansal here, who headed Barclays. He knows all about this stuff. And you can see how we have grown. And the banking system is clean. NPS are low. People still haven't made enough bad debts. Evolution of Bharat fintech. Look at this. Companies have come up in various areas all over, in lending, in the stock markets, in credit cards, and everywhere else. And you can see all the tailwinds that are coming over the last maybe 20 years. All right? There's a huge system of fintech, and India leads the globe in fintech. Full stack digital banking service by neobanks are coming up. If you have multiple bank accounts, 4 or 5, you don't get one single view. So neobanks consult all that and give you one single view. So you know where the money is, who can lend. And the idea is, once everything is available, if you want to borrow money, you can use the information to go to a lender to quote and to bid for your loan. And that, I think, is fantastic innovation. Digital payments has taken off, 5.73 billion to about 13 billion in 2 years. That is the best in the world. Study transit, no cash. You can see here 10.56 multi-UPI transaction, $189 billion, and 42% of global digital payments are in India. I mean, Bharat. Which country? Bharat. 42% of the globe. Is not funny. China is way behind. US still struggles to, issue checks. People have forgotten what a check is. They do UPI in 30 seconds from account to account, and it works, it's free. Banking as a service is coming up on top of the banks because bank could become utilities, because apps are now creating a layer where you can do many things across multiple banks. So banks may lose contact with their clients and it could go somewhere else. Zerodha, two young kids in Bangalore, now they're grown up, are earning 5,500 crores of revenue, 2,800 crores of profits. Anil's friends. Anil Shetty is here, his friends. Can you believe that? They run 10, 12% of India's broking. Priya, are you here? It's a large number, isn't it? In fact, Priya was the head of regulations for the NSE. I remember one meeting, I told her, these guys are getting too big, look at risk management and make sure they have enough capital, right, Priya? Digital broking, all over India. People are trading all over. We are born traders. You know, we told the government of India, start a fintech tower in Bombay so that everybody will go there and trade in the global exchanges and blow it up. We know how to trade on exchanges. SMEs are experiencing an IPO boom. Ashish knows about it. It started in the BSC, now it's gone to NSE. And you can see the number of companies coming up, the number of valuation that is there, and the huge rise in value in the SMEs. Of course, there is some fraud there. You've got to be careful because there's no liquidity, but some action. Fintech's efficient vehicles for digital disbursement of NBFC credit. The beauty is in Bangalore, we got a lot of fintechs who believe that you got to give money and they come and tell you, we can give money in 30 seconds. Some of them forget that if you give money, you got to actually recover it. You only earn a spread. They lost a lot of money, but they learn. They're young people. They're losing investors' money. That's fine. Investor pouring down money. Bansal will put more money into them because he sees the winners. The great decentering of credit is important because there is, intermediation of credit, right, by the banking system. Now that is being done differently through fintechs and happening in an extremely big way. The idea is people want credit in 30 seconds. BNPL, that is buy now, pay later. That is taken over Korea and other countries. In India, it is becoming big, and we got the Shaktikanta Das, governor of RBI, telling tham, be careful, don't give too much of money, blah, blah, blah. And I think that's careful because, individual lending is going up. But the fact that it's happening is very good. The key is every individual should get credit, and these fintechs will make it happen. Credit card coverage is growing, even though we see UPI taking over the big way. But credit cards is growing because fintechs have come to issue credit cards, and they got a lot of this, KYC being done and everything electronically. Because you must remember, fintechs create a layer of technology from the you as the consumer. The banks and others create a layer of technology from the you as the regulator and the internal management. Bharat fintech sector is booming. Look at that. Raised almost $112 billion since 2014. Bharat fintech sector is booming. This can see the valuation. 26 will be 800 billion. Right now, the market share of fintechs is about 350 billion. These are very large numbers. Bharat diverse fintech is there across everywhere. Unicorns and sunicorns and growth stage and all that, right? Look at the number of unicorns in every sector. We are leading the world. We're a small economy. We need more money. The day Manoj writes a check, we're going to grow multiple times. Manoj, open up a checkbook. Digital lending, startups dominate fintech lending. Fintech in Bharat will be $1 trillion by 2025. We're going to meet again in 2025. And you take the photo of this slide and we'll play it again, all right? India Stack is the greatest piece of innovation done anywhere in the world in technology over the last 10 years. It has given identity to 600 million, 60 crore people. It allows the poorest of poor to open a bank account, get money. About 32 lakh crores has been transferred to the account by digital transfer, by DBT, digital bank transfers. 2,50,000 crores is there in the bank deposits. The largest number of bank accounts open in the world by any country in the world, 50 crores has been opened in India. All done in 3 years. Please applaud. This is innovation on a scale never seen in history. Remember that. Only in Bharat. World-class products are being built. The India Stack is free for users, so young people can come and take a laptop, go to AWS, get the cloud, and then use the API to build businesses. We'll go from a data poor to data-rich country in 5 years. We're already nearly there. Man, we have more data on the human condition than any country in the world because Ayushman Bharat. Now they're going to open it up so people like you can tap into the data. Trade without friction is happening in a very big way. We got platform like Consent Data Exchange because India, I think, has passed a law which said data belongs to all of us. And if it's all of us, how do we share data? And we can do it through this exchange, the public use platform. And Content Data Exchange works to give credit to people because there are layers of apps and the banks which give money. And OCEN, Open Credit Enabled Network, will revolutionize digital lending. All this is built by volunteers in Bangalore under Nandan Nilekani. There's no country in the world where volunteers have built open source of a scale never seen before. Am I right? ONDC, Open Network for Digital Commerce. How to get all the retail mom and pop shops to come into this? That's happening only in Bharat. Because only in Bharat does it exist. So we're not going to be taken over by the giant Walmarts and others in this country, even though Jio will be bigger than Walmart in the United States, hopefully over time. They're already worth 100 billion. But, they're going to connect with the mom and pop shops to make it happen. And we can see how this digital platform is taking off. FinTech 3.0. What is FinTech 3.0? Well, FinTech 3.0 is the neobanks. FinTech 3.0 is formalization of access to FinTechs and co-lending regulations. So banking, payments, lending are all going to change, led by tech and young entrepreneurs. What does work for FinTech in Bharat? Good policy, despite whatever is there. We still survive, we'll still grow, and we got good policy, open protocols and open system, digital public goods. India is giving the world digital public goods. Like Bharat gave Dharma to the world. We are giving the world digital public goods for platforms. Jandan Aadhaar Mobile, high quality tech entrepreneurs, work in progress. There's a lot of work in progress happening because these guys have to learn how to earn money. Consolidation of paytech will happen, diversification services will happen. These are all things that are going to happen in a big way. Emerging trends, financing supply chain payments. How to make sure that when you supply, you can get money immediately. And real-time lending. Just imagine you go to an app and give your Aadhaar, give your data, you get money in the bank. You got to pay it back, of course, over time, but you can actually make it happen. Challenges to global tech. Banks need multiple vendors. Banks are stuck in old technology. They need vendors to do that, and Indians will provide them. And there's a challenge from talent because all the talent is going to new startups, they're becoming entrepreneurs. Regulations, trials, innovation. Regulators have to catch up. And then ensuring data localization and privacy. These are big challenges for the fintech industry. And fintech innovation, good policy, and capital will transform the financial architecture in Bharat, and Bharat will lead the world. Thank you. Rajesh is slightly better than me, and Rajesh, I finished 7 seconds. You are 14 or bigger, right? So, folks, we have come to the end of the session. Now, let me sum up. Then we'll open up the floor for questions. We had Rajesh Sehgal talk about the startup ecosystem, what is happening on the world, what is the scale, what is the size, and how to improve, etc. He's a serial entrepreneur who's done very well, and he understands the system, and we had great learning. Suresh Jairaju spoke about investor incentives and policies, how we need to change regulations, but he made a very big remark, which I want to answer you, Suresh, because I've been asked this question for 25 years. Why is India not having a Google and a Microsoft? US is 26 trillion, man. They spent $2 trillion on digital. They got an unlimited amount of capital. India is a poor country. Digital market is 30 billion within India. There is no money, there is no capital, there's nothing. It's a wasteland. We are making a difference. And Europe doesn't have a Microsoft, digital, Google. So, they've only got SAP is legacy. Japan doesn't have it, 5.5 trillion. So we need three things. We need human capital. We got them, except the top 10%. You're true. We don't have enough PhDs and innovation universities. Our universities spend only 5,500 crores on R&D, less than what Harvard spends in one semester. And then two, physical capital. We need more cloud capacity. We need more labs. We need all those things because, Gunjan goes away to Germany and starts his company, not in India. So you understand, people are all going out. 750,000 Indians are studying in overseas universities, spending $30 billion. 150,000, a billion guy, rest are gone to immigrate. We must send about 10 lakhs every year. So over a period of time, 5 crore more young Indians go. We got a lot of space in India for people to go. And the third thing is, we need financial capital. US invested 2.34 trillion from 14 to 22. China 832 billion. Indians only 140 billion out of 85-90% came from foreign capital. Where is Manoj writing a check? Manoj is not writing a check. Where are all these people writing a check? They don't write a check. We got to go Om Bhikshan Dehi for capital. Give us money and we'll show you what Bharat is. Because there's enough money with everybody. They go buy real estate, go buy some stocks and make money. We want Panam, Rokra, and that must do. I answered a question, right? Then, of course, Gunjan spoke about how he's scaling up, doing remarkable work in Germany, right, Gunjan? And I think he'll be one of the pioneers in clinical research, how to have new drug discovery. I think it takes $1 billion for a new drug, and he's going to cut it down to 200 million and make 100 million, hopefully, for every drug that comes on you. And Mohan made a presentation how fintech and how fintech, Indian Bharat fintech is going to conquer the world, how Bharat is a global leader. So thank you, and we'll open up for questions. Thank you.
Sir, I'm Anil Sharma from Delhi, Bharat. Yeah.
You are in Delhi. I don't know whether Delhi is Bharat, but anyway, let it by.
So my question is regarding a lot of startups who initially started in Bharat, they flipped to maybe Singapore or Delaware, other jurisdictions. And another provision like SPAC, that is also helping them to go outside Bharat. And the second area is about the valuation domain, which is also very opaque. So I want to know from you what is happening in these two areas. Thank you.
I think Rajesh will answer, but valuation is not opaque. Please remember, valuation is between two people. The person, founder raises capital, the investor invests. They negotiate and fix the valuation. There's no opacity. It's a negotiated settlement. Rajesh, please answer.
Sure. I think just to continue on the valuation aspect, we always keep saying the unlisted markets are typically opaque, and there is some truth to that. But I must share with you, I spent 25 years in the stock markets, right from the early 90s till 2017 when I started the VC firm I now run. Who's to say that Infosys valuation today is fair? Is it cheap? Is it expensive? We don't know. The only thing we know is that the valuation of Infosys as a company has been arrived at by millions and millions of trades. There were some numbers that we shared in the morning, again in Ashish's presentation. And for unlisted companies, like Mohandas ji said, it's between the buyer and the seller. So as they say, or has been said by Shakespeare, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. If we feel it's $1 billion, it is $1 billion, unless somebody else comes around and says it is not. So I think valuation is a moot point. We can keep spending hours and hours and hours till the cows come home, but you'll not have a real answer. The other thing about companies in India, entrepreneurs from India going abroad, listing in Singapore or London or elsewhere, I think this has been a trend for far too long. Even before the startup ecosystem today has become what it has. You remember an exchange called AIM, alternate investment in London, out of London. Typical traditional infrastructure companies went and listed there. I think the listing in those years were more because of access to capital. I think as Mohandas said in his presentation, we are a poor country, GDP per capita, you saw those numbers. And the one thing that India lacks today, I made that point as well, is capital. So I think Indian companies do go offshore for a variety of reasons, but the primary reason why we go and list elsewhere is access to good quality capital. It is not that Indians cannot appreciate, Indian investors cannot appreciate or value companies in India, but we don't have enough capital to really, put the dollar behind our talk.
Yeah, next question.
Mohan.
Yeah.
Mohan, you're fantastic as usual. I've been following you. So I'm feeling nervous asking a question to you, but I've been investing in India for the last 10 years, probably 3 or 4 startups. And as usual, 90% of startups fail. I have no problem with that. The challenge we face in last 10 years, which is reporting back to the investors. And it is absolutely across the board. We don't find the reporting of a regular startup operations from a startup founder or founding team back to the investors in the same way like we have in US. I'm not complaining, but I'm saying
that's true.
It's
not a complaint, it's a matter of fact.
Yeah, so and that really, makes me think twice before writing the checks. And it's very challenging across the board. If I talk to any investor in US, they have the same complaint. So I don't know what's the solution.
See, my solution is you invest through funds who will manage all that for you and give you information. No, I know in 2014, I invested in the angel 45 companies in 1 year. Well, they should come, I should give them checks. But it's a mess. You can't control it. You can't monitor it, get information. You don't know what is happening. Then we started funds to do it. The funds will do well. Go to Less Venture, their platform to do it. Rajesh will tell you how to do it. You got to do it differently. Because remember, this is an emerging economy. An economy which are submerged is emerging. We're not the US. We got a long way. Okay. So, you got to bear with us for some time till things settle down. It is settling down. Our stock market is among the best. Great transparency, great reporting is happening. Okay.
Yeah, I'm Hemendra Gupta from Bharat. My question is with the whole panel because I know that the people are at the helms of startup ecosystem of India. We are roughly 1 lakh DPIIT registered startup. Most of them are coming from IIMs or IT. I'm talking about the active who are actually doing the business. And the data shows that a lot of investment went into it. If we compare, we have roughly 8 crores MSMEs in India. Out of that, if we select some of them, we will get still more than the startup numbers, which are innovative, which are working on some problems, and they are starving for capital. If some of the part of this startup ecosystem investment can be rooted to those MSMEs, I think result will be better. We will have a better ecosystem, and we will, I think, get a inclusive things because there people are from other background
Understood.
also.
Understood. Yeah, Suresh, then Rajesh. Yeah, Suresh, then Rajesh.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, I think if you look at MSMEs, there's a big difference between MSMEs and startups, right? So I personally think I don't see a natural fit. MSMEs are generally running businesses, right, which are standard, not necessarily innovative. There could be minor jugaad and possibly some innovations, in which case they do transit into the startup economy. And large part of the MSMEs are run by people who are either semi-educated, not completely educated. I mean, this is again more of a personal belief for them to come and access the VC or the angel market, right? Many of them, I would say there is a subset, right, or within the MSMEs who are potentially working on innovative products, but don't have access to the VC as slash angel networking because they really cannot come and talk in forums like this or create nice looking presentations or make pitches. The MSME, the Government of India MSME department does provide incentives. I'm aware of this. I think they give grants and funding up to 1 crore. This is not the startup-based funding. It's a grant, and they provide space. They provide money for buying machinery, etc. I've seen some of these draft policies. The problem is it's very antiquated. So, for example, they will give you money on anything which you can buy hard, but they won't give you more than like a couple of lakhs to buy any kind of software or to invest in terms of people. So there are some issues there, but yes, point taken. The subset could be looked into if they're really innovative.
Just to round that off. So I think the MSME is a very different animal than startups and angel networks and all of that. So let's not confuse the two. The problem that ails the MSME sector, and for investors like us to really focus and provide capital to MSME sector, is essentially governance and compliance. I think we all, whether you're living in Bharat or you're living outside Bharat, when you look, but you have connections to the country, you will realize, and we all know, in common parlance, that compliance and to regulations or to paying taxes, etc., has been really lax in the country, right? At least now it's getting rectified because you have data transparency. Every network, whether there's the income tax or the spending network, etc., is getting linked and all that. So there's far more transparency in terms of adherence to regulations. But the MSME sector has been the largest cause of heartache for the banking sector for decades. That is changing now. And I think as more and more MSMEs really embrace compliance, you will see far more capital channelizing itself to that sector rather than anywhere else. Please take this in the overall context, as we said in our presentations that India is a poor country. So the amounts that can be invested have to be tempered to that extent.
Yeah, any Mahila question? Question from a Mahila now. Bharatiya Mahila. Please stand up and ask a question. Good. Yeah. 3 cheers for her. Please applaud.
Namaste. I'm from Bharat, Pune. My name is Prachi Shivgaonkar. I'm the founder of a mobile app for climate action called Cool the Globe.
Yeah.
I started this platform as a young student from the dorm room of my college. Today, we have users from over 110 countries. But when I started out, I had no idea about the startup ecosystem, angels, VCs, fundraising. It took months to figure that out. And even today, I meet hundreds of young people who start grassroots innovations but have no idea how to take them to the big leagues. So, how do we bridge this gap between young entrepreneurs in Bharat and people like you?
You must get Rajesh to mentor all of you. Rajesh,
Yes,
now, Suresh, since you spoke so much, you also tell them how we're going to mentor. You
I'll be
also,
the first
Gunjan.
mentee.
Huh?
I'll be the first mentee.
Tell Rajesh, Rajesh will do it after this session.
Okay.
Okay, Suresh, short answer, all three of you.
Um, See, I don't think there is a digital divide in terms of learning about entrepreneurship. I would just recommend one resource, it's a global resource. Just go to Y Combinator's school, startup school. Okay, they have lessons, they have videos, they have everything. Okay, to be candid, I still keep referring to that. Right, you can't retain all the points all the time. Right, so when I'm setting up different sets of business for startups across the globe, I go and refer to it. One single resource. Again, I'm repeating Y Combinator school. Okay, they call it Y Combinator startup school. Okay, it's methodical. Paul Graham is the person who's actually put this. You can also go through some of his essays. It's very easily understandable. You can just read through it like a 12th standard pass out can actually read it and understand it. Very practical. Plus they have a whole lot of videos and other stuff. My other suggestion is definitely join one of the top incubators, either NASCOM or a whole lot of incubators are there across the country. You will get your connects, you'll get people to talk to on a day-to-day basis. One thing which I've seen is young people, when they're starting off, they tend to open up a office somewhere in the corner of the city because of rental issue and whatnot. They don't tend to come and interact. See, the benefit of being at an incubator is precisely this. You can interact with multiple sets of people. You can get business. You can meet foreign investors, people who want to do partnerships internationally, and the entire vibe sort of starts to set into you. The takeoff is going to be far more easier rather than sitting in one corner of the city and trying to do things on your own. That's my quick advice.
Gunjan?
Rajesh?
My dadima used to say Bhagwan Ram won with a chariot with two wheels, courage and patience. So as entrepreneurs, we have to be courageous. This guy Gaurav sitting here, we were both 18 years old. We had this crazy idea. We got money from an IIM Ahmedabad professor. We raised $100,000 and then gate crashed Dr. Kalam's office in Delhi. We had no appointment. We just went there. The first time we sat in a flight, if you don't ask, you don't get. So just ask people you want to be your mentors. That's what I would say.
I'll just point you out to one resource online, one resource offline. Online is YouTube. You'll be surprised at what you can learn on that platform, and it's free, right? And the offline is network. You've been a founder, successful founder. You really scaled up your company. I think it's for all of us. Network. Just put yourself out there.
Yeah. Next questions. Yeah. Mike.
Namaste.
Yes, lady here. Come, Maila, come. Yes, ma.
Namaste. I am Inchara from Bharat. I am CEO
Which part of Bharat?
Karnataka. I am
Kannadiga,
CEO of
finally.
Value Products Private Limited, an Ayurvedic pharmaceutical industry. We manufacture Ayurvedic products under the brand name of Amrit Noni. I just wanted to ask a question for Gunjan sir. Sir, have you done any clinical trials on Ayurvedic-based products? Are you interested in doing so? So, if we like being an Ayurvedic industry, if we go through the clinical trial process, what is the market available for us in the global level?
There is a huge there is a huge market. There was a big, it's not particularly Ayurveda, but there was a boom on cannabinoids related ingredients. Then there was a boom in psychedelics. There were many IPOs. Actually, one of the IPO, there was a UK based company, Compass Therapeutics, and Atai. that did on psilocybin, magic mushrooms extract. That's an Chinese medicine TCM product. It was 256 BC. The first mention of magic mushrooms was in Chinese scriptures, traditional Chinese medicine scriptures. So there is a huge potential. The challenge, you would know, is to really characterize and identify the real active ingredient that actually kind of fits in the Western style of designing clinical studies and getting approvals. To your question whether we are working, yes, we'll do a press release in a couple of weeks of a partnership with the largest Ayurveda company in the world. We are working proactively.
Yeah, talk to her also, no? Mentor and help her also. Okay, next.
Hello, I'm Vilas
hello.
Kulkarni.
Where? Yes.
Okay. I'm doing business in water purification. I have one silly question. Actually, in Corona pandemic, means 2020, UPI and this scanning, QR code scanning and everything is came, digitalization. But how this magic happened? That I want to know if somebody can explain. And second thing, whether it directly affect to Bitcoin or this other invisible monies. That's why.
See, the magic happened because Nandan Nilekani went to UPA and told them that we need to give an identity to many people. There were some papers floating around in Niti Aayog and in Delhi. And then Manmohan Singh called him and said, why don't you set it up? And they actually set up on the planning commission. Then he, because of his personality, is able to attract the best talent in the world to come and work in the authority. He put his own money to work. And then when Modi-san became PM, he went to PM and showed him everything else. And Modi understood how we can reach and open bank accounts. Then it took off. Very soon, we had 100 crore people on the platform because Chidambaram tried to get the national population registered going. But while he was doing it, Nandan Nilekani got a lot of service providers to paying them 100 rupees to go and get everybody. So he already got 60. By the time Delhi woke up, 60 crore people on the platform. So that went fat, right? Because that's meant to sabotage all this. You don't want progress in the country. And then Modi started this Jandan Jam Trinity to open account. 50 crore accounts, 45 crores are open. Then he understood that you can send money directly. He has saved 2.5 lakh crores, spent 32 lakh crores. And then those volunteers in Bangalore. So you need a few stars who want to transform. You need them to put money, and you need a lot of volunteers to work who are great techies. You need political leaders who can accept it and change India. All that worked, and the magic worked. That's my understanding, right? Any comments, folks?
Yeah, I would like to actually add, the success of the UPA and the entire Aadhaar stack, or this entire tech stack of India is so successful. I've actually received 2 requests from Africa and Middle East for implementing citizenship IDs there, right? I don't know, maybe I'll do an outreach, right? That's the kind of power this is actually carrying. It's not just within India. People across the world seem to recognize this. They know the names. They know India Stack. They know Aadhaar. They know how well it's worked. And it's not just Middle East and Africa. There's a video by Nandan. He's actually speaking in the UK, and you have a whole lot of their MPs, right? Their members of parliament sitting and talking to him and asking him questions like, can you help us do this? We've been trying to do this for 10 years and it's just not happened. So that's really a big thing.
Yes, next.
Hello, namaskar. My name is Kalpesh Joshi. I'm from Toronto, Canada, and I practice Vastu Shastra and business consulting. Like, we are a global company. We have offices worldwide under the name of Vastu Visioning. My question to angel investors: why I don't see like anybody investing money for all the spiritual services like a priest or astrology or Vastu Shastra and stuff like that?
Why are you not investing in all that?
Let me tell you, right now as we speak, there is diligence going on one company in that sector. But of course, we are venture investors, so it's a lot more commercial. But it is in this space.
This is also commercial, yeah. You'll make money.
Space. Yeah, it's in this space. So there's so many large companies within India, and I'm sure, like you mentioned, Canada, elsewhere, which are pretty large in this space.
Yeah.
And it's a cash spinning business. You really don't need venture investors.
That's a nice one, Rajesh.
Yeah, you want to tell me my future? I don't need anybody else's money. I'll give you my money.
You must tell your own future whether you're going to get capital, man. Okay. Who else? Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, namaskar everyone.
Ah.
This is Sandeep Kumar from United Kingdom. Now there is no doubt that India is growing at a probably fastest pace in the world, and the brain who left India probably a decade ago, now they lost the local connection, and still I believe if you have to do something in India, you need local connection.
Speak to the mic.
I believe if you still need to do something in India, you need local connection. So my question is there any support or platform available for the people who want to come back to India and do
No,
something?
no, I think my colleague there, Suresh explained that already. Meet him afterwards. Okay. Mahila now, question for Mahila. Yes, there, please.
सभी को बहुत बहुत नमस्कार. My name is Prajwal Dahdlat Bhosle. I'm from Satara, Maharashtra, but I'm a resident of Thailand, and I work as a food waste manager. And recently, we were establishing a factory in Mumbai, but the process itself, from the start to beginning, to getting licenses, getting our factory license, all of those processes, it took a lot of time, and there were so many instances where we had to go through red tape, under table money. So such kind of things cannot be possible when we have limited capital. So, and there was no way out because we probably don't have a network of people on the higher level to go through. And I was just thinking to myself कि अगर कुछ अच्छा करना है और इतनी सारी कठिनाइयाँ आ रही हैं तो फिर आगे कैसे बढ़ा जाए? So on this subject, how do you cross the red tape? How do you cross corruption without letting go of your values and still progress?
Yeah, you must speak to Dattaji. Speak to Dattaji Hosabale. No, I'm really true. Speak to Dattaji Hosabale. Tell him the pain we go through in starting a company in India. I mean, he can bring about things. Okay? Because everybody will answer, we're all in the same boat. We're all victims. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
So I wanted to know, like, what would you do? Because you're in currently a big position. So what is your take?
Well, we support the same thing, man. There's no solution. It has to be a political solution.
Okay, ma.
And I'm in Karnataka, one of the most corrupt states. We are not paid a bribe at Infosys, but I know it's the pain. Anil is here, the political leader. Okay, next.
Yeah.
Come.
Hello.
Namaste.
Vishwa Prasad Alva, founder of Scanray Technologies, medical equipment company born out of from Mysore. I have 3 women managers, so I think I can ask 2 questions from you. One is about angel tax. I just wanted to know what is the concept of angel tax, because we pay forward valuation, and then we have been having this confusion for quite
Angel
a long.
tax is something called tax extortion. Okay? Our political leaders must say with that, I complained to the Prime Minister, I've gone and met everybody, they promised, they changed the law, they still haven't removed it. So we have to talk to our political leaders to change that. It is extortion to give power to the taxman to go after you. Okay.
The second is, what is the barrier of introducing crowdfunding in India? We
There's
are
no
in
barrier.
But the stock exchange.
I know, but you got to do it differently.
Oh, okay. Not
And Rajesh will talk about it after. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Gentlemen, there will be 2 more questions only.
Yeah, that's why. 2 more minutes.
My name is Makran. I worked 10 years in Bangalore in development, and
Where
now
are you?
15 years I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm running a startup in UK.
You went away, is it? Why did you leave India?
Oh, that's what I'm looking to come back.
Don't come back. You conquer. You make UK into Bharat.
But I'm looking to do angel investing because I do have myself as well as my friends and capital at hand. At the same time, I do have experience in the working in India as well as emerging technology.
Talk to Rajesh. If you want the angel, talk to Rajesh. He'll tell you how to do it. Okay.
Thank
After
you.
this. Okay.
Namaste, I'm Venkat, CFO of Seva International America, living in Houston. My question is, in India, either it is a Section 8 company or individual trusts are not allowed to invest in any company, whether it's startup or owning shares.
Yeah.
So it's to unlock its value, what is the legal recourse available to invest, not only Indian trusts and also foreign trusts, because there are a lot of wealthy diaspora Indians who wants to give back to India using this trust.
No, what you must do is you must form a for-profit company. You can invest from outside from a not-for-profit company into for-profit company, like the Susan and Dell, corporation, and like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They can do it. You form a for-profit entity, invest through that into India. Okay. Okay. Next, come. You have to hurry up. Anybody else?
Yes, sir. Sir, namaste. I'm Anurag Tiwari from India. I'm
Bharat.
Thank you. Sorry. So I'm running a waste management company in Gurgaon. Started from Gurgaon. I'm a 13-year-old entrepreneur. First 7 years, I tried a lot and did everything that can be done for the business. But पिछले 5 सालों में मैं 30 लाख से 1.5 करोड़, 1.5 करोड़ से 5.5 करोड़, 5.5 करोड़ से 30 करोड़, 30 करोड़ से 45 करोड़, 45 करोड़ से 100 करोड़ हुआ. तो जो दीदी ने कहा ना कि कितनी प्रॉब्लम्स हैं, आपको सिस्टम को, धंधे में बंदों को सबकी नब्ज समझनी पड़ेगी. अगर आप धंधे की नब्ज समझते हो, पैसा अपने आप आता है.
Thank you. बहुत धन्यवाद. Okay, folks.
Yeah.
Okay, come. Last question.
My name is Parveen Sharma. I live in US in New York. For 35 years in the IT department. I'm a senior manager of Fortune 100 companies. So the thing is that we investing a lot of in IT investors, people over here. The biggest company in America is not Microsoft or Apple or not this. The biggest company over there is correction department. The people are laughing, but he said $2 trillion every year they spend on correction. Can we spend some money on Bharat on these, or investors can put some money on here too? Because in America everything is privatization. And I'm at Suresh or Sehgal. I invest a lot of money in stock too, and these all hype. These are all mafia things.
Okay.
It's not easy things. Like you think about is all the manager they set up. My son is in the finance. I know what's going on over there too.
Okay.
We have so much thing. So can we do that something on the correction department over here too?
Yeah, you talk to him offline. Okay, it's very sensitive. Okay, folks, I want to end this by thanking my co-panelists. They've done a wonderful job. Very brilliant people. Rajesh Saigal, Suresh Jairaju, Gunjan Bharadwaj, and Mohan. I want to thank all of them for a great job. Thank you, and give them a great round of applause.
Delegates, please take your seat. There is an important announcement about the network session. Mr. Srinivas is going to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you all. Before I talk about networking, small announcement. I'm going to read out a few names. We need these people, if possible, please contact Manoj Motwani ji, Vish Govinda Swami ji, Rajkumar Loya ji, Vinay Gupta Loya ji, Swadesh Khetawat, and Rajiv Ramaswamy ji. If you are here, please contact Manoj Motwani ji. He's standing right here. Thank you. So now, we're going to go through the session 6, which is supposed to be after the break, but we will quickly cover. The first part, where the information we need to share.
Requesting everyone to be kindly be seated. Session is not over yet.
If you kindly be seated, then we can explain about the networking. Let's go ahead. So myself, Srinivas Sidumala, and Shailesh Sivadi ji, we both will cover this session now and after the break also. Okay.
So kindly allow me to set the context for a networking session. As a businessman, we have to be always in discovery mode. If you're a venture capitalist, obviously you're looking for ideas and product and services that you can invest in. And if you're into services, you are looking for people who can use your services. If you're a buyer, obviously looking for somebody who can buy your product. If you're a seller, you're looking for new customers. Now, since we started our journey in 2012 with Hong Kong session, we have grown both in numbers of delegates and success stories. I'm sure since yesterday, you have been networking with both known and unknown people. And but this is a planned networking session that we are coming up with. And it is said that your network is directly proportional to your net worth. And there is a beautiful saying by Ivan Misner that networking is all about farming and less about hunting. In networking, you have to be patient, meet people, know them, develop a comfort level, and obviously things will fall in place. So basically, what we have to do is that meet people, know them, look at the opportunities, areas of cooperation, synergies, and look out for the opportunities to transact. Once you transact, make profit out of it, reinvest, again make more profit, diversify, invest in forward integration, backward integration, invest money, make more profit. That's the idea. And when you made profit, or ensure that you give back to society and you contribute towards protecting Hindu Dharma. Now I'll hand it over to Srinivasji, who will walk you through the PPTs that will help you understand the session properly. Thank you. Srinivasji, over to you.
Thank you, Shailaji. So what we did is we sent a survey out to all the people, almost 600 in the World Hindu Economic Forum delegates, and we tried to find out what they want to do right in this networking session. So very happy to note that almost 1/3 of the people, almost 160 plus people responded, which is a good response considering people are traveling international. This is just a graph showing what people are trying to do. Important point to notice, there are top 3 areas. There are many areas, but top 3 we found is a lot of people are interested in joint ventures. That means they have some business, they want to have a venture with somebody else to expand their reach. Second most important is a lot of buyer required. So there are a lot of people who have services or product, and they want to see, right? So they are the sellers, they need a buyer, and there is a match that's going to happen. Third, because it's also international, people are looking at export and import. So these top 3 are the important ones. We also saw that there are almost 25% of the people want to invest money. Okay, so we did a lot of session about investment and all. Happy to know that 25% of the delegates in World Hindu Economic Forum here want to invest money, right? So if you need money and if you have a right pitch, you will get the money, right? But it has to be done one-to-one. Okay. Just to quickly, we also try to find out whether people are where they're trying to invest. Is it only in Bharat or everywhere else? As you can see, people are there who want to invest all across, right? So whether it's Bharat, Africa, ASEAN, even South America, Eastern Europe. So if doesn't matter which country you're coming from, out of the 60, there are people who are interested in investment in that area. So if you want to get the money, it's here, right? What we're going to do is we're going to try to facilitate, give time, but it's up to you how you get that money, right? Quickly, logistics now. When you come back after the break, we're going to have 3 different areas here where we're going to try to do this networking. Group 1, we're going to have buyer and seller, which is in this front side of the stage. We have 2 facilitators, Shri Manoj Motwani ji and Shri Vardachari ji. If you guys can raise your hand, if you are here, maybe they are here, but they will be here to facilitate that part of it. If you are here and you rated in your survey for joint venture or collaborations, or if you're not filled the survey, but that's your intent, then on that side of the screen, we're going to have the group that will do joint venture and tech collaboration. That's always the biggest group. I'm assuming it will still be. So we have several people who will try to facilitate. The names are here. I'll run these slides after the break too, while you're doing networking, so you know where to go and whom to reach out to. And the third, last but not the least, there's going to be a lot of import-export. So we're going to do this at the end of the hall. Those 3 doors are closed. So there we're going to set up that area, and that will be the facilitation, right? There is also several people who wanted to share the data, do the pitching. Today, we are going to do it for very few selected who had the presentation ready, and several people from the youth who have the pitch deck actually ready to do it not Jupiter, so Jupiter 3 outside. We're going to do this. I have at least several names who are going to, be jury, let's say, who are ready to invest money. So I'll read some names so that it interests you. Sridhar Vembu, who's going to be there, Gunjan Bharadwaj, his partner Gaurav Tripathi, Suraj Jayarajuji, Subhash Takrarji. And I'm just taking randomly names as I met them. Priya Subramaniam ji, Sunil Kaul ji, Anil Shetty, ji Upendra Mahato from Nepal, Sushil Saraf ji, Satya Bansal ji, Rajesh Saigal ji, and Suraj Jayaraj. All these people would be sitting there listening the pitch and trying to see that our youth get opportunity to investment. A lot of you didn't send the PPT or said you are interested, but I didn't receive the pitch deck. But if you're still interested, I'll be here. Do reach out to me, provided you are ready to pitch your, use your 5 minute thoroughly, and I'll see whether I can accommodate. So that's pretty much the summary of what's going to happen after the break. If you're not here, you found somebody great match, you want to do business, don't feel guilty. Do that meeting outside, right? Go for dinner. Our intent is that you network, not that you come here, right? But if you want to meet more people, do come here. Don't spend more than 5 minutes with one person, so you meet maximum people. And like you said, we need to nurture it. So make sure you understand people, connect it, and then from there go forward. Any questions quickly? Otherwise, we'll go for a break. Yes, sir, please. I don't have a mic. You can come here and then maybe ask, right? No problem. Okay. I think, thank you very much.
Thank
Namaste
you.
all. We'll see you after the break. Okay.
Okay.